and welcome to Rulebreaker. Today we are going to cover the Federation of Saul faction for Twilight Imperium 4th edition, focusing on the additions in Prophecy of Kings expansion. So these guys, the humans, they've been probably the most powerful faction in the game since the game was released, the base game. If not the most powerful, then certainly up there with Jolnar has been one of the more consistent performers and regular winners of the game, to the point that in a lot of house rule games where people draft factions, they don't allow people to actually choose Federation of Saul because their win percentage is so high. In my experience, that's not entirely accurate. I think they're very capable of losing, but they do have very strong advantages in a lot of areas, particularly carriers and infantry units, and just pure numbers. I've definitely seen them steamroll games as well. So have they retained their title as most powerful faction in the game? Let's take a look and find out. Before we dive in too far, I just wanted to point out the advanced carrier and Spec Ops 2 in a little bit more detail. The Spec Ops 2 have incredible combat for infantry as well as this resurrection ability, and the advanced carrier, while it does have awesome capacity and move 2, something that I kind of glossed over in the original faction video was the fact that it has sustained damage, meaning that you have got multiple units that can take a hit without dying while carrying lots and lots of fighters, say, for soaking up hits. Meaning you've got this huge shield that is in itself a shield, carrying other shields into combat with you, meaning that this sustained damage is actually probably the best thing about the carrier. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that that is a thing, and that it's really important for how good these guys are. I had a bunch of Scandinavian viewers point out that this planet is the Swedish and Danish and Norwegian, at least, word for home. And I think it's probably pronounced Jord, not Jord, like I was saying before. So let's dive into the reason why we're here to talk about the new stuff. Federation of Saul, they have a agent called Evelyn DeLuise. They have a commander, Claire Gibson. And then they have hero Jace X, 4th Air Legion. And then they have a mech called the ZS Thunderbolt M2. So Evelyn DeLuise has the title of Master Tactician, and the text: at the start of a ground combat round, you may exhaust this card to choose one ground force in the active system. That ground force rolls one additional die during this combat round. Worth noting that mechs are ground forces, so it's not just infantry. That's why the term ground force is used, so you can give an additional die to your mechs, who have definitely got better combat than the standard Spec Ops, but they have the same combat rolls as the Spec Ops 2. This is an exhaustibility, meaning that you can only do it once, and you would turn the card around, flip it over, and not get it back till the end of the round. So you can only do it once, so use it wisely. Maybe if you're starting to lose a battle on the ground that you really don't want to lose, it's combat round, not the combat itself, so it could be after you've had multiple rounds of rolling dice. And moving on to Claire Gibson, Voice of the People. She unlocks when you control planets that have a combined total of at least 12 resources. Now you do start with 4 of them, so you need to conquer an additional 8 of this yellow number here before you can flip Claire Gibson over. That's kind of what these guys do. They like to get out there and conquer planets. They've got 2 carriers right at the start, so they should be able to spread out pretty evenly. I imagine, unless you're having a game against very aggressive invasion focused opponents, that you'll be able to get this commander unlocked pretty quickly. And when you do, it flips over and it has the text: at the start of a ground combat on a planet you control, you may place 1 infantry from your reinforcements on that planet. Now that will be a Spec Ops 1 until you upgrade to Spec Ops 2. Now the thing about this one is it's not every combat round like the agent was. It's actually at the start of the combat itself. So before the dice are rolled at all. You may place an infantry down on that planet. You're already going to have loads of infantry by the nature of these guys, but having an extra one at the start of every combat means that if people are trying to whittle you down and they're having a difficult time doing it, even attacking you means you're getting stronger, which is really disheartening if you're trying to take planets off the Federation Assault player. Another thing to note there as well is that because it's your commander, if you give the Alliance Promissory Note to other players, they will have this ability too. So, you know, if you give it to the Necro or the Arborek or whoever, and they're your ally, every time there's a ground combat where they have the planet, they're going to get additional infantry on that planet. And because it's a planet you control, it's only when you're defending that you're getting that bonus. It's not every time you aggressively push forward that you get an extra guy. It kind of feels like as if the idea, the spirit of this card is that Claire Gibson is galvanizing the people and getting reinforcements to arm up and help in the fight. So pretty straightforward one, but very effective if you're starting to struggle and get attacked. Someone's trying to rise up against the mighty human hammer. Right, moving on to the hero Jace X, or maybe Jace the 10th. I'm not really sure. I'm going to call him Jace X. He unlocks when you've scored 3 objectives, just like the other heroes do. And when you do, you flip him over, and he has the ability Helio Command Array, the Twilight Directive. And this is an action, and it's a pretty good action. It's remove each of your command tokens from the game board and return them to your reinforcements, then purge this card. Wow, so it's a once per game ability. You do it, the card is removed from the game, you can't do it again. And because this one is so powerful, that's a relief. It's an action, so it's the only thing you do on your turn, but wow, what a thing to do. You take all of your command tokens off the board, effectively meaning that you can activate those systems a second time if you want to, or you can activate the ships that were in those systems and move them somewhere else in the same turn. So the way I kind of think about this Helio Command Array is that it's like a super warfare strategy card, not just one system but all systems. I mean, did this all really need another superpower? So I'm a little concerned that this pushes them over the limit and makes them even stronger. This guy is objectively extremely good, and it gives you options. It gives you all of your ships you've moved this round back again to do another thing with. It means that if you have lost a system, you can fly back in. It means that if you have moved your ships really far, done a thing, conquered a planet, whatever, you can do this action and then bring them home and defend your home, or go to another planet and conquer that. So the sheer flexibility of this is absolutely crazy. Naturally, you're going to want to probably stockpile a bunch of these the round or two before pulling this off, making it a bit of a long game, long play sort of thing. But wow, is it worth it. Stunning hero, absolutely ridiculous, really, really good. And then to finish it off, we'll talk about the mech. It has the standard 2 cost 6 combat sustained damage like all other mechs have, and it has a deploy ability, which is after you use your orbital drop faction ability, you may spend 3 resources to place 1 mech on that planet. And just to remind everybody, that's the faction ability on the front of the player card here, which is the action to spend a token from your strategy pool to put 2 infantry from your reinforcements on 1 planet you control. So you're still doing this, you're still spending the token, you're still getting the 2 infantry, putting them on the planet, and then the mech is allowing you to put itself down really for 3 resources on top of that initial cost of the token. So a little bit expensive, but the accessibility to it is great. You don't need to worry about building it with your space docks, meaning you've got even more combat prowess on the ground. And again, just to remind that it is a ground force, so this is applicable when thinking about the agent's ability, where you can get the extra die during a combat round. So there you have it, Saul getting a buff. So my initial instinct on this one is that, you know, with your super carriers, your incredible infantry, constantly getting an extra strategy token each round with your faction ability, this hero is crazy good. It's such an end game sort of move. It feels like Saul, they haven't been dragged back, they haven't been nerfed, they haven't been pulled into the fray. I feel like they're still right up there at the top tier. if you guys think I'm wrong, please let me know. Tell me what I'm missing here, because this seems like they're just still really, really, really strong. So a little bit of favoritism from the human designers of the game to give the humans some of the best stuff. Now, saying that, I know they're not invincible. They can be beaten. I've seen them beaten many times. And there is a lot of really cool new stuff in Prophecy of Kings. And I'm sure there's going to be games where these guys get absolutely wiped out. And it'll be good to see that. But I think they're strong. I think they're really exciting. This Helio Command Array, again, just to reiterate just how amazing that is. Everyone at the table is going to be keeping an eye on that one when it's unlocked to see what effect it's going to have. It's a real game changer of a move if you can do it well, and I don't see why you wouldn't. It's one of the more straightforward ones to pull off well. Just basically reset your turn and do everything again with your ships. Or, at the very worst, it's build a big fleet of cool ships in a system, take the token out with this, and then use it right away to do something crazy. So, you have lots of flexibility with that. And that's it for the Federation of Sol. And it's also the end of this series of videos on Prophecy of Kings for Twilight Imperium 4th edition. Now, I will definitely be covering the expansion and the game in more detail soon and going forward, but this is kind of a bit of a milestone video. It's all of the factions have been covered now. We're going to be doing something a little different in coverage for the game next. Thanks for watching the series. If you have, it's been a great journey. The channel has multiplied number of subscribers since the start of the series, so thanks to everybody who's been along for the ride for the last few months. And I just want to assure you that this is not going away just because we've covered all the factions. There will be plenty more stuff, such as an updated tier ranking, a look behind the numbers of how the game is balanced, and a few surprises that I'll save for later on when the videos drop. So thanks for being there with me and listening to my crazy rambling, and for correcting me those few times you did. Thanks a million for that. I love learning, so please keep doing that. And we will see you very soon for some extra content and surprises in the very near future. This has been Rulebreaker. Have a nice, and I will see you very soon.